Okay everybody, this is the Banana Hobby F86 Sabre. Date is March 18th, 2012. This plane was shipped to me a month ago. There might be some changes. If you bought one of these a couple of years ago, there could be some changes. I want to show you what differences I've noticed. I've put this plane in the air 3 times. I've had 2 successful flights and 1 unsuccessful flight. I'm learning how to crash it better than I'm learning how to fly it. This plane is not much different, except I have noticed that the internal fan, the internal fan is one solid piece. There's no conduit coming out to the nose of the plane. And then, by the way, you can see what the nose looks like, because I did nose it. I did crash it in the nose. I use what everybody's been talking about, boiling water, and it puffs right back into shape. So it's something to think about if you hit this thing nose first real hard. The first 2 times I actually did fly it, there was problems, because the speed controller is loose. It's sitting in there loosely. That's connected to the fan, which is right about here. And by the way, they have added a compartment where you can unscrew the panel underneath to pull the fan out, should that happen again. And I've used it twice. All you do is unscrew the screws there, pull it off, pull the fan out. I wouldn't recommend gluing it again, because if you do hit kind of hard nose first, it kind of pushes the blades out towards the front and could cause overheating, unless you want to find a way to push a rod down there and pop the fan back in place. I do need to work on that. The front end has been dipped in water, boiling water. It was pretty dicked up whenever I did, right before I put it in there. The speed alright, let me get back to this. The speed controller down here is that little processor. It's got 3 wires coming out that plug into the fan. If you crash this thing head nose first, this has a tendency to come right out, and the wires come all out of the airplane. You lose your battery, you lose your canopy, and this thing comes out also. It's very easy to fix. All you have to do is push it back into the housing. The first time I did it, I actually used glue, because it seemed like it was really wanting to jump out of there. Glue that thing in. Glue it in real good, so that way you don't have to worry about reconnecting it to the fan. I made one modification to the airplane. I've experimented a little bit with it. The batteries get awfully hot. You could probably imagine it's basically sitting in an insulated igloo cooler. It keeps your beer cold. Well, it'll keep the battery hot also. So I cut out a duct right where the battery sits, to get airflow around the battery. Otherwise, it'll get hot real fast. Put the battery in. The battery does not fit when you get the jet. I think everybody knows that already if they've looked at buying one. You have to cut out the foam pieces where the back of the battery sits. And I got rid of the pieces that came protruding out to hold the front end of the battery. Just simply won't fit. They say it will. I don't think it will. I made an adjustment. So the plane is flying absolutely perfect right now. You need to put a lot of glue on these tanks that are connected to the wing here. That's actually these tanks and that hood right there by the aileron control. That's actually your landing gear. You don't have landing gears on this plane. You don't have a rudder. You have to land it on these two auxiliary fuel tank looking things. You can land it in the grass. The problem I have run into quite a few times, not a few times, just 2 times. Tonight I landed the plane and one of the auxiliary fuel tanks popped off. Yesterday, whenever I was flying the plane, one of the auxiliary fuel tanks popped off. It was that one right there. So I glued the hell out of it. It worked fine on the last flight. This other one wasn't glued sufficiently. So what I'm thinking is you probably need to try and make sure that shit is glued real well. So that way you don't have to wait for the glue to dry before you can fly it again. The jet came with a simulator by Blitz RC, and the plane functions exactly like the ME262 Schwabel on the Blitz RC flight simulator controller. This is a rudderless plane. It has elevators and ailerons, or you can use elevators and ailerons in combination. It does fly very well. Hopefully the next video I get, I'm going to try to see if I can get my wife to a video. Once I get all the bugs worked out, I'll go ahead and post that. But remember this, if you're going to crash this airplane, cut the fucking power on it. Cut the power. Try to point the nose upward. It can take a hit, but it cannot take a hit full throttle pointing toward the ground until it impacts. That's not gonna happen. You're gonna break it. If you think you're crashing it, if you think it's about to do something, kill the throttle and try to regain control of it, and just don't try anything stupid until you learn how to fly it. Thanks everybody for listening. I'll post another video when I'm capable.